The old train screeched to a halt in the middle of dust and wind. Out stepped a woman in a faded blue dress, clutching a torn letter and a suitcase that looked heavier than her hope. Her eyes darted across the barren land, searching, fearing. And then she saw him, tall, broad-shouldered, hat tilted low, the kind of man the West whispered about. He tipped his hat slow and said, with a half-smile that could melt frost on stone. "Darlin, I don't bite, unless you run." Narration tone slows, emotional storytelling. Evelyn Grace had crossed 3 states and half a dozen prayers to reach this place. She'd answered an ad for a mail-order bride, a desperate gamble for a woman with no family, no safety, and nowhere left to go. Her hands trembled as she watched the cowboy stride toward her. Each step stirred up the dry earth like an omen. He was everything the stories warned her about: rough hands, quiet eyes, the kind of man who'd seen storms and maybe caused a few himself. But when he spoke, his voice wasn't harsh. It was steady. Low. The kind that said you're safe now, even if her heart didn't believe it yet. "Name's Cole Lawson," he said. "You must be Evelyn." She nodded, unable to find words. "Well," he said, glancing at the empty horizon. "Ain't much out here but dust, cattle, and second chances. You'll fit in fine if you're willin' to try." The wind tugged at her hair, and for the first time in months, Evelyn felt something she hadn't dared to feel: possibility. As they rode back to his ranch, silence filled the air like unspoken questions. Cole didn't talk much, but his eyes kept drifting toward her, curious, cautious. She noticed how he handled the reins with care, how he slowed the horse when the road grew rough. Maybe he wasn't the kind of man to fear, maybe he was the kind a heart could learn to trust. But the West had a way of testing people. And before the sun set behind those red hills, both of them would learn: some pasts don't stay buried long. The wind howled that night like a ghost that had lost its way. Evelyn stood by the window of the small wooden house, staring out at the dark sky rolling with thunder. Cole was out in the barn, wrestling with the horses that feared the coming storm. Every flash of lightning showed him, tall, soaked, untamed. And every flash pulled her heart a little closer. When he finally stepped inside, dripping rain and grit, he caught her staring. A faint smile tugged at his lips. "You keep lookin' at me like that, darlin'," he said softly, "and I might start thinkin' you ain't afraid anymore." Evelyn looked down, her voice barely a whisper. "Maybe I'm not, maybe I'm just tryin' to believe what I came here for." Cole walked closer, slow, careful, the way a man approaches a wild horse that might bolt. "You came here for a new start," he said. "And I ain't the kind to take what ain't freely given. You're safe here. Storm or no storm." Outside, thunder rolled across the plains, but inside the little cabin, something quieter began to grow, a fragile kind of peace neither of them had felt in a long time. Cole set his hat on the table, poured 2 cups of coffee, and handed her one. "To new beginnings," he said. She met his eyes, steady, kind, weathered by pain and patience. "To new beginnings," she echoed, her voice trembling, but no longer from fear. And outside, the rain began to fall softer, like the West itself was blessing their fragile hope. Closing narration. The storm may have passed for now, but on the horizon, trouble was riding hard. If you felt the heartbeat of this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ride with us again. The next chapter, it'll leave dust on your boots and warmth in your chest.